Hello everybody, and welcome back to Pravus Gaming and more Plague Inc. Evolved Custom Scenarios. Got a request for one called Deep Sleep. Let's take a look at that one. Where are you? Hey, another SCP scenario, of course. Hang on, it's in here somewhere. Deep Sleep. There you are. That's the one by Booblesnoot. That's great. Scientists have been working hard. Cures for almost every ailment imaginable have been released to the public. After 13 years of research, they've done it again. This time a cure for insomnia. And on the first test subject, it did just that. The poor soul, unaware of the havoc their release would cause, was sent home to contact them in the morning. Yeah, because that's how clinical trials work. You don't put them in a controlled environment. You just give them a little shot and say, all right, go home and let us know if you slept. We're just going to trust, that you're not, taking anything else, alcohol, that you're not exposed to any environmental toxins, blah, blah, blah. That's how it works. But hidden deep in the cure was a lone bacteria. A lone, but very, very dangerous one. After being ingested, with a J instead of a G, into the host system, it quickly made its way up the central nodes and nerves, crossing the entire human nervous system before finally reaching the brain. For now, the little thing would have to do with sitting on the outside of the gray matter, biding its time until it reached its final goal. A complete shutdown of the human central system, followed by using all of the human organs as a hive for reproduction. Kinky. All right, let's try this one out. I think it's going to be a bacteria, as they said. Of course, now we have to wait for the darn thing to retrieve. It's been getting worse, I tell you what. It's been getting a lot worse. Hey, purge the heretics. That could be fun. Bacteria, metabolic jump, genetic mimic, oxide extremophile, and symptostasis all seem quite fine to me. PAX 12 by default, I don't care. The humans have had all their medical worries solved as of now. They won't worry too much about slight sniffles or coughs, assuming it will pass quickly. Use this to your advantage to force them all into eternal sleep. Somewhere a human has walked out of a medical facility with a cure for crippling insomnia, and unbeknownst to them, you. Pick your starting location in Saudi Arabia. I mean, it's sort of annoying how often we do that, but come on, it's always the best. Transmission. All right, so we have our birds, rodents, livestock, insects, blood, water, and air. Nothing new there. Symptoms. Neural breach. Bacteria successfully breaches outer membrane, resulting in more choices. Doesn't do anything else, it just gives you more choices. Okay. That leads to pneumonia and chest pains, pretty severe. Headaches. As the disease begins its long march into the mind of its victim, the carrier feels a slight pain in the back of the skull, slight increase in infectivity. Coughing. Chance of infection from surroundings, especially in the urban areas. Mild insomnia. I thought I was supposed to stop that. Yeah, there's a fair bit of severity. Hey, your medicine didn't work. Well, that's weird. It should have. The disease refuses to allow the mind to reach deep sleep, REM, causing a loss in efficiency. For abilities, we have everything standard, so it looks like the only customization here is going to be in the form of the symptoms, which is okay, albeit slightly disappointing, but not everything is going to have that. We could go for probably the headaches, I would think. Now, they say that because, the world is so well cured of all diseases, people don't really care if they have the sniffles or a headache. But I don't think that makes sense, because if they've been cured of everything, then when you have a headache, you should be like, wait a minute, we're not supposed to have any disease. What have I got? I personally, if I thought that I was immune to everything and I was completely secure in that, if I suddenly had any sniffles, I'd be like, oh god, I must have the plague. Necrosis. Hey, that's pretty good. Let's go for some air transmission and maybe some insect infection as well for the hot climate so we can spread into places like India a wee little bit faster. Wouldn't mind getting some extra air transmission to spread in Saudi Arabia and get on some planes a little bit faster if we can, but we'll see if that's going to be an option for us. Looks like we're getting kind of close to it. 16 DNA is what we want. So necrosis is not very lethal, but that corpse transmission is not to be underestimated. So we're going to get that kind of early on. I like that a lot. Oh, I like it because I'm lazy and I want the easiest solution. I'm not saying that necessarily means that it is the most balanced way of doing things, only that I'm quite happy with it. Let's go for the mild insomnia for the extra severity since we're starting to spread around. We'll pick up coughing as well since we do want the urban transmission as we get around. Major insomnia mutated whether I like it or not. The disease burrows deeper, getting further control of the host's sleep cycle. Let's pick up some pneumonia for the cold countries. We do have pulmonary fibrosis. Don't want that quite yet. Let's go for some cold resistance, so we can spread a little bit further up north. We are in Canada. We'll go for the drug resistance, since we did see at the very beginning of the scenario that the rich countries got some new guidelines which will increase their disease resistance, so a little bit more a wealthy transmission is going to be necessary if we want to survive. It is amazing to me sometimes what kind of a train of thought I can have, or a stream of consciousness, and how I can just continue to talk without a lot of stumbling. I was just realizing that I was just kind of talking nonstop for a good, like, 30 seconds. It's like, you know what? Sometimes that's kind of impressive. I don't know how I do it. I don't think about it. It just sort of happens. Neural tightening. The dices tightens neural pathways, causing loss of thought and possible unconsciousness may lead to death. A little bit too much too early. Don't want that right now. Let's go for some water transmission so we can get around into the island nations. We are not a Nurex worm this time, so we do have to focus on that. Extreme bioaerosol makes a lot of sense. And then probably more drug resistance followed by a little bit more cold resistance, so we can spread in places like Russia a little bit sooner. We have a good amount of severity, which means we're getting plenty of DNA right now, so I like that a lot. Necrosis is something we should probably just go ahead and pick up preemptively, because I'm going to want the corpse transmission, because we are going to transition pretty hard into lethality, I think. I'm a little bit worried about how fast we're spreading, but we're still not getting into places like Greenland. We may need some livestock just to spread a little faster in places like Russia. Norway's been infected, Finland's been infected, Sweden's still holding out on me. Let's see, what else could I use right now? I mean, we could go for bacterial resilience to make us even better in certain climates, and I guess a level of that's not so bad. There's Greenland, okay. So all we're missing now is nothing. We actually did get into Sweden. Perfect, let's transition into the lethality. Pulmonary fibrosis. We'll go for chest pains and strokes, followed by pulmonary edema, gastroenteritis, inflammation of the GI tract, infection but not lethality, systemic infection, and then hemorrhagic shock. Severe loss of blood volume causes oxygen deprivation, loss of consciousness, and death. Neural tightening happened. Let's go ahead and pick that up. We did get neural tightening for free. That leads to blood flow loss. The disease causes blood cells to stop releasing oxygen into the brain, likely deadly. Yeah, because, you know, if the brain isn't getting oxygen, there's only a chance of death. It's not a certainty at that point. Have some optimism. Let's go for the blood flow loss. Coma. Neuropathic effects on the brainstem cause a complete shutdown of the nervous system. Evolve and infect the entire world to win the game. So we don't actually have to kill everyone. We just need everyone to fall into a coma. Makes sense. The scenario is indeed called deep sleep, so we'll do that. Also, an extra level of bacterial resilience, so we can spread faster in places like Greenland, since they're the only ones missing. Same for Iceland. And that is all we're going to need to win. We just need to hit critical mass right in there. Let's go for probably a couple levels of genetic reshuffle just to buy ourselves a little bit of extra score. Most of the world is dead anyway, but we don't have to technically kill everyone. Deep slumber. As the final human submits to the darkness of sleep, world progress grinds to a halt. With nobody eating or drinking, it isn't long before the human race is wiped out. The bacteria makes good use of all the tissue remaining on the once mighty beings, now laid low. Good night. Ah, it's very well done. Good. Yes, I like that. 381 days, 3 stars, 66,700 points, only 18% cure progress. So yeah, a lack of customization in the transmission and the abilities is always a little bit on the disappointing side, but you know what? It's okay. Still kind of works. It is just a generic bacteria. Just the symptoms are really all that matters. So it's not really a big detractor. It just would be nice. Overall, the symptoms seem pretty good. Pretty well balanced. I didn't really have any problems with this. A couple of little mistakes grammatically and in terms of spelling here and there, but otherwise, yeah, very well balanced scenario. Just good. It's fun. I liked it. And you know what? Good night to you too, sir. Deep sleep, absolutely, I will recommend it. You've earned it at this point. Thank you all very much for watching. I do hope that you enjoyed this video, and if so, you'll consider hitting that like button. It really does help. Leave a comment with your suggestions and your recommendations for new scenarios. Subscribe if you have not already, and I'll see you all next time.